All right, good morning and welcome to this episode of Superior Angling. As usual, Mother Nature can always does seem to throw you a curveball or two, and it definitely has this morning with the skim ice that we're dealing with out here on Lake Superior. It's getting towards mid-May, and it's just been a super cold spring. So our plan for today is to jig for lake trout. Now, it's nice when you have no wind from a wave perspective because you can get to far out places. It's not nice if it's super dead because you get skim ice like we have here today that we're having to deal with. So we're not able to get to where I truly want to go quite yet. We're gonna have to wait till either the wind picks up or the sun burns off some of the skim ice. I have plenty of experience in driving boats through skim ice, but you know, to a fiberglass hull, it does not do any damage. But we ideally have another 20 to 30 miles to go, and I just don't want to rip through that at 40 to 50 miles an hour. So we are on some structure right here. I'm actually graphing a very nice fish, so that's a good sign of life. And yeah, our plan today is just to jig on Lake Superior for lake trout. There's nothing more exciting in my mind than jigging for lake trout out here. It's such a fun way to catch them. It's such a cool experience feeling that fish hit. We have some spinning rods from St. Croix. And yeah, I'm excited to get some baits in the water and get after this fish that we just graphed here. But first, we might need to make a couple circles with the boat to break up this ice a little bit so we can fish. It's just crazy talking about this while you're in a boat in May. So, but hey, cold weather. That'll do that to you. So let's get some rods rigged up and get some baits in the water. All right, Busker's already got a bondy down there. So when you fish, there's kind of two ways to jig out here, and there's no one right way to do things. This is just what works for us. Like if you're using a bigger bondy bait, it's nice to have a big musky rod like the St. Croix Legend Tournament that Busker's using. I'm gonna be jigging kind of a heavier tube. That's a fish. That a boy. Nice. That's what you like to see. That's why it pays just to drive around a little bit until you graph a fish like we did there, and it's fish on. Heck yeah. Through the skim, it's almost like we're ice fishing right through the skim ice. You can't make it up. Let's take a look at this one.
First drop. Just smoked it. There we go. Nice lake trout. I'll take that for the first drop. Literally first drop and just catch that fish. That's pretty sweet. Not a giant, but a pretty cool looking fish. Good way to start the day on the first drop. That's awesome. Sweet. That was sick.
So as we were saying before Busker caught that fish, I'm going to be using kind of a heavier tube in that 4 to 5 ounce range. So I'm going to go with a spinning rod. This is a Avid Salt from St. Croix. It's an 8-foot heavy. St. Croix makes some awesome saltwater rods that are very good freshwater jigging rods if you're jigging for lake trout, and they're a little bit deeper. So we're going to be running braided line, and then we have some heavier leader here that's 30 and 40 pound test. So we're going to get this rigged up and get a big tube down in the water, and there's going to be hopefully a lot more fish to come. That's a good sign that that one ate a big bondy bait. Yeah, you can never, I don't know. It seems like on spots like this with structure, when you graph a fish, you know, they're usually pretty eager to eat. So it's just nice to know we caught one here. I've never fished here before either. And again, we can't get to the spot that we want to go. So we're just going to sit here and hopefully pluck off fish until we can continue to run 20, 30 more miles.
Hooked up a couple minutes after Busker just got his here, so feels like a decent fish. Good way to start off. I'm using the same rod that Grant was just talking about earlier, Avid saltwater rod, and I also too have one of the tube jigs on. All right, here's a nice little lake trout. Got him about 100 feet of water, I think, fishing in. He came up and hit it pretty good.
There we go. Man, that's fun. That is so cool. That is so cool. Man, to feel that hit. 100, 120 feet down there. Braided line. Big St. Croix saltwater spinning rod. Out here on Lake Superior, all alone, middle of nowhere. Ice, almost ice fishing pretty much. And cool looking lake trout. Look at that one, look at the designs on that. That's a cool looking fish, man. Very unique looking fish. There's just so much cool things to experience out here on Lake Superior. And that's a cool one. Let's release him if I can. There we go. But again, this is that tube I'm using. These are pretty cool tubes. Staple Baits makes them. They're big, like 5, 6, 7 ounces. And again, we're out here to catch fish for the fun of it, the enjoyment of it. We want a fun fight. To fish this on a big heavy musky rod, you're not going to get a fun fight out of a fish that size really. But to use a bondy bait, you have to use a musky rod because these spinning rods won't really handle a 10, 11, 12 ounce bondy. So you need the rod to handle the bondy. Using a smaller bait like this, you can get away with a little bit lighter of a rod. And this 8-foot Avid Salt from St. Croix does a pretty good job. It allows for a really fun fight. But these tubes fish very well. Built-in stinger hook. That's a fish catching machine right there. So each of us has caught a fish so far. Pretty good for a backup location. Again, we can't even get to where we want to go. But hey, that's 3 fish in 5 minutes at the spot that we've never fished. So that's pretty fun. Let's get back down there.
Got a big one here. Looks to be an ice chunk.
I got something hitting me, man. There he is. There he is.
That was so
man,
cool.
He was just playing with it. I'm like, something's ticking it. And it's not ice hitting my line either. Oh, I love jigging on Lake Superior for lake trout. And throughout the day, hopefully we can get some bigger ones dialed in. But if we catch these all day long, hey, I'm gonna be more than happy. Oh, he's getting a little big to hoist. Look at that fish, man. Wow. Lake Superior lake trout, that's a big belly on her. Definitely some air in there too. But that is fun. Catching those on jigging rods. It does not get any better. Nice fish. All right, we're kind of over this spot here. And again, what this spot was is, 300 feet of water all around us and about 100, 120 foot hump. And we're, it's not a very big hump, maybe the size of an average size parking lot or so, but we plucked off 7, 8 fish. It's really slowed down. So now we're gonna try to make a move and continue in the direction that we were. There's still skim ice. We're hoping the sun has kind of melted a little bit and we're starting to get a little bit of wind. So I'm optimistic that we can continue on down the lake. If not, we're gonna turn around and go back that way to kind of where we came from. But lots of area to fish out here. There's just the area that I want to get to, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to get to it or not. So let's get this boat on plane and see what this ice is gonna be like. There's a fish right there, a couple of them. It's crazy what just a couple miles up the lake can do. It's like a completely new day. We actually have some somewhat sizable waves, no ice in sight. Now I guess the wind is our only concern, but the forecast for today looked decent. So on kind of another reef here, if you want to call it that, a reef or a hump. 120 feet surrounded by a lot deeper water. So we're just driving around on it, gonna drop some waypoints where we see fish and then drop some baits down on them. Hopefully pluck a couple off. But it's nice, we're starting to get to that area that I wanted to fish. So hopefully you can see a little bit better size. But hey, being out here in May all alone, having the lake to yourself, that's pretty special in itself. So we'll take whatever she wants to give us today. It's still pretty heavy, buddy. Well, the RS net's ready for you. We've paid our dues. We've kind of, we're due for a big one here, and I think we got it on the line.
Oh, he's dumping it all back. No.
Is he?
Yep.
There he is.
It's in the back.
Oh, he's hooked in the back. All right, he's foul. He was fighting so hard because he's foul hooked a little bit, but it's still a good fish.
Yeah, it is.
That just shows you how aggressive these trout are. That's still a big fish. I mean,
Yes,
that's still a
is.
15, 17 pounder. I mean,
holy.
that's a big fish, man. Congrats, that's awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
That just shows you how aggressive lake trout are. They see a big white tube falling down on them, they dart up and just go after it.
Holy, look at that fish. Yeah, I can't get a hold of them. There we go. It's a fun fight at 100 feet of water. Bigger than what we've been getting. This one has a little more orange fins on it too. Sweet. There he goes. Fun fight there. 100 feet of water, my arm is tore up.
There's one.
Yeah, buddy.
It's not gonna be a 15 pounder, but hey, it's a bend in the rod. Feels bigger than 5 though.
Yeah.
It's just when you can graph these fish on bottom when you're driving over them, it just gives you so much more confidence that number one, they're there, and number two, you can get hit, so you can stay in an area longer. Like if you don't graph fish, it's a mental battle. It's hard to stay put, but so I mean, I just encourage you to just drive around until you truly graph a fish, because when you do, they're likely going to eat.
Oh, that's a really nice one.
Yeah, that's a nice fish there, man.
Really nice fish. Look at the gut on that one.
That's another Toby.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big fish. Look at that thing. That is cool. That is so much fun. That's over 10 pounds.
Yeah, 2 big ones back to back.
I know. I mean, these are truly just that next caliber of fish, and that's what you like to see when you come out here in Lake Superior. I mean, those 2 to 5 pounders will keep you busy. They're fun as heck to catch, but you know, this is kind of what you get your hopes up for and have dreams of, is big lake trout like this on jigging rods. Like, that is so much fun. It is so cool to feel these fish hit, to be out here. That's awesome. Let's get her unhooked and back down. There she goes. Bye, Felicia. Is that a fish?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a better fish.
Heck yeah, buddy.
Man, I feel like we're ice fishing. We got to take the gloves off to fight the fish. And what happened on this one is, you know, we spot walked over a couple marks and we caught those fish, and then we didn't graph anything. So now you just kind of transition to fan casting around, and that's how I got this one to bite. You know, just pay attention to your graph, and if nothing's directly below your boat, just start casting and working those lures back to the boat. That's exactly what I did here. This has some weight. It's bigger than my last one.
Another scoop?
Yeah, we're gonna need the net. It's just crazy what one experiences throughout the course of a day out here on Lake Superior. Like skim ice and glass calm, now we have white caps and, you know, somewhat sizable waves. It's just, conditions out here are just, it's wild what you can experience. That's a nice fish. That's a big fish.
Yeah, buddy.
Heck yeah, that's a good one. That's just come off too.
I rimmed
That's
them.
another beautiful fish. Wow, that gets your heart racing. Like, my arm is sore. Jigging big tubes on St. Croix rods out here in the open waters of Lake Superior. I mean, freshwater fishing, it's hard to get more fun than this. Let's take a look at this trout. That's a nice lake trout there. Very nice lake trout. Man, isn't that cool? This is a character each fish has. Look at, she had a lamprey under this peck fin.
Big fin too.
I know, they're huge fins. And then on this side, lamprey mark there. Kind of unique nose, like.
Look at the belly too.
Yeah, fish out here are so cool. Like, they're just, you never know what you're gonna see or what you're gonna experience out here. That's a beautiful, beautiful lake trout in Lake Superior. Let's get it back. So it's working really good for us, just making small little moves. And again, I always think the bigger the piece of structure, the better. It's gonna hold more fish. It's gonna, you know, mean that you can move 500 yards this way, 500 yards that way. So really what we're doing is plucking off 2 to 3 fish in one spot and then just moving a couple hundred yards away. And we're just idling along again until we grab fish, and then we're immediately hitting spot lock on our trolling motor. So we sit right above these fish, pluck off the 1 or 2 that we grabbed right below the boat, make a couple fan casts around, usually catch 1 or 2, and then move again. So it's just a really efficient way to go about kind of vertical jigging, is to just grab fish, spot lock on them, and drop straight down on them with tubes or with bondies or whatever you're using. So again, the lure that weighs more is usually better just because it gets down there faster. So we're just going to continue to putz around a little bit until we see a couple more, and then we're going to hit spot lock and drop some lines.
There's a nice
There
one.
you go. Atta boy.
Oh,
It feels
yeah.
good, huh?
Really a good one. I had this one chase me up to 60, and I dropped it back down to bottom, and it just pinned it down there.
That's a big one.
Oh, yeah, that
Oh,
is a
wow.
nice one.
That might be our biggest one yet.
I think so.
That is our biggest. Holy cow. I didn't realize how big that
No.
fish was going to be.
You didn't really fight
That's a
too
big
hard.
fish.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, 1 hook. Look at that skin hook.
That was it.
Just the skin hook. Let's take a look at this girl. There we go. Got to be the biggest one of the day there. Nice fat fish.
Another thing that I love about these tubes is how fast they fall. They're so aerodynamic. They just truly just drop right through the water. And it's not taking more than, I don't know, 10 seconds to get down 100 feet. So I mean, these things, they fall fast, meaning it's an efficient bait to fish. If you're out here trying to cast and, you know, mess around with a 2-ounce bait, you're not going to have the luck or the success that you normally could have, because there's a lot of current out here. You have waves, you have wind. Like, you got to use a heavy bait, and the faster a bait falls, I think the more productive it's going to be for you. There's a fish. There's a nice little run. There's a nice little run. The Vanguard is singing. This is a size 5,000 Shimano reel, and I kind of like this bigger handle on it. You can get a bit better leverage on your baits and on fish as well. Yeah, this will probably be a good one. This will probably be a good one. Boom, it just spit up like a herring or something.
Yeah, look at all that stuff.
Crazy. Lake trout are pigs, man. They are piggies. It's crazy how many of them. Oh yeah, look at, I said herring. Look what's in that one's mouth. That there's a big old herring. And herring are kind of like a pelagic species of fish where they constantly roam around the lake. Like, herring don't sit on a reef. So when a school of herring swims by, these lake trout are sure to take note of it, and you know, they take advantage of it and eat whatever they can, because it could be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before another school of herring come by. That is so cool. Big old tail sticking out of its throat. I mean, that's, I don't know, your average herring, 16, 17 inches, but partially digested. But this is why these lake trout get so big and so fat out here, is that they are just eating big herring like this. Isn't that crazy? That's a big bait fish for that lake trout to spit up. Busker's hooked up.
This is a good fish too.
Man, they're feeding.
Yes, they are.
And these trout that we're catching right now could be activated and turned on because of that school of herring too. Like, you know, you have days out here where it's hard to catch any sizable fish, especially jigging. That's the one downside of jigging, is you usually don't have your size, but we're getting a good average 10 to 15 pound, you know, trout right now. It's a nice one.
Yeah, this doing the burping.
Oh, that's a big one, Busker.
Yes, it is.
Man, that's so cool. Wow. Look at you, just came unhooked.
Yeah.
I think I get the assist on that one.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Let's take a look at it.
Jesus, another pig. Average size fish on this spot is just crazy. Another nice one right there. Hey, 11 pounder, 12 pounder. Just right after Grant released his. I like it.
We have found the absolute mother load.
I just released that fish.
Busker just had one, Corey had one, I had one on my rod. I put it down to grab the camera. All aboard! Isn't that wild?
That's awesome. This is a great day, man.
That's a nice fish.
Very nice fish.
Yeah, talk about a crazy day. I mean, it's just, you go from skim ice, pretty much being unable to fish, luckily we got a few, to the wind wind really picked up, and we got some big fish, wind died, now it's picking up again. Off camera, we drove around for a half hour trying to find and locate a big pot of fish, and man, we sure did. We sure did. They were pretty stacked down there. I think we're gonna head back here before this wind picks up too much, but yeah, from Busker, Corey, and I, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.